Howie Roseman is about to pull off the most controversial draft heist in Philadelphia history, and the rest of the NFL isn't ready for the absolute chaos he's about to unleash on the clock. If you think the Eagles are playing it safe this year, you haven't been paying attention to the smoke signals coming out of Broad Street. We're looking at a total roster transformation that could either cement a dynasty or end in a complete draft day disaster. There is one specific name on the board that changes everything for Jalen Hurts in this offense. And I'm going to reveal exactly why this project player is the secret weapon the Birds have been hiding from the world. Before we dive in, smash that subscribe button if you want the fastest NFL updates on the planet. The pressure in Philadelphia is at an all-time high right now. The Super Bowl window is wide open, but the hinges are starting to creak. We've seen the defense look like a shell of its former self at times, and the offensive line, the literal heart of this city, is facing an identity crisis with legends aging out. Are we looking at a rebuilding year disguised as a playoff run? Or is Howie about to cook up a masterclass that puts the Lombardi back in South Philly? We're sitting at pick number 23. The tension is thick enough to cut with a cheesesteak knife. For weeks, the debate has been raging. Do we protect the franchise or do we go after the quarterback's head? I've gone back and forth on this more times than a shuttle run at the combine. Last time, I was convinced it was offensive line or bust. But looking at how this board is shaping up, and knowing Howie's obsession with the trenches, I am pivoting to a move that is pure adrenaline. With the 23rd overall pick, the Philadelphia Eagles are selecting Kendrick Faulk, the monster edge rusher out of Auburn. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, what about the offensive line? Trust me, we're getting there. But look at this roster. The Eagles are dangerously thin at the edge. You cannot win in this league if you can't harass the quarterback, and Faulk is the definition of a Roseman special. This kid is an absolute physical specimen with length that scouts dream about and a motor that simply does not have an off switch. The character reviews on this guy are through the roof. We know the Eagles don't just draft talent, they draft culture. Faulk is a leader, a grinder, and most importantly, he is a chess piece. He's a base defensive end who can slide inside to the 3-tech or 5-tech. Imagine a third and long where you've got Faulk's speed and length coming from the interior. It's a nightmare for any interior lineman in the NFC East. People are sleeping on him because his sack numbers dipped last year, but if you actually watch the tape, his pressure numbers were elite. We're talking 92 pressures over 3 years. He bats down passes, he stuffs the run, and he plays with a violence that this defense desperately needs. It reminds me of what Jeff Stoutland always says about Lane Johnson. You don't draft for what a guy does on day one. You draft for the Hall of Famer he becomes in year 4. Faulk has that ceiling. But if you think the first round was a shock, wait until you see how we address the Great Wall of Philly in round 2. Who is your dream pick at number 23? If we could live in a perfect world, I'd take a certain Penn State guard in a heartbeat. But the reality is he won't be there. That's why we had to go defense first. But we cannot, and I mean cannot, ignore the protection for Jalen Hurts any longer. Moving into the second round, the Eagles are snatching up Keelan Rutledge, the offensive line standout from Georgia Tech. This is where the masterclass begins. Rutledge is the ultimate Stoutland University candidate. He's got over 3 years of starting experience, showing massive improvement every single season. He is a brick wall with heavy hands and the strength to displace defensive tackles at the point of attack. Does he have some balance issues? Sure, but with the coaching staff we have in place, including guys who have history with Vic Fangio, we are in the best position in the league to fix those technical flaws. Rutledge tested out as a 95th percentile athlete. At 316 pounds, he's running a 5.05 40-yard dash and jumping 32 inches. That is functional explosive power. The pillar of success for Philadelphia in 2026 is the offensive line. If they stay healthy and play at an elite level, this team is a Super Bowl lock. If they play like they did during that injury-plagued stretch last year, it's going to be a long, painful winter in the city of brotherly love. Who's to blame for the O-line regression last year? Was it coaching or just bad luck with injuries? Drop a name in the comments and let's argue about it. But don't get too comfortable with the big boys, because the skill positions are about to get a massive injection of speed that might make certain veterans very nervous. Round 3, pick 68. The Eagles have already been busy in free agency, adding weapons like Hollywood Brown and making trades for guys like Dontavian Wicks. But you can never have enough elite speed. There is a name that has been whispered in the halls of the NovaCare complex for months, and he might be the biggest steal of the entire draft. The Eagles are selecting Ted Hurst out of Georgia State. If this kid played at Alabama or Ohio State, he'd be a top 15 lock. Because he's at a smaller school, the experts are letting him slide, and that is a massive mistake. Hurst is a 6 feet 2 inches deep threat who runs a 4.42. He is a contested catch vacuum. Last year, he significantly improved his ability to create yards after the catch and force missed tackles. Think about the future. We love A.J. Brown, but in the NFL, you have to plan for 3 years down the road. Whether it's a massive contract extension or a potential trade, you need a high-end WR2 waiting in the wings who can eventually step into that WR1 role. Hurst has that dog. He tested with a 91 athletic speed. He can jump over defenders, and he gives this offense a vertical dimension that keeps defensive coordinators awake at night. But the offense isn't just about the wideouts. There is a massive hole in the tight end room that we haven't talked about since a certain Pro Bowler's future became uncertain. For the last 2 years, the Eagles have been playing a dangerous game with the tight end position. It's been a series of one-year deals and wait-and-see approaches. But the clock is ticking. We need a long-term solution who can actually help in a run game. Last year, the lack of a blocking tight end was a glaring disaster that stalled out the tush-push more than we'd like to admit. That's why at pick 98, we are taking Sam Roush from Stanford. Roush is a 6 feet 5 inches, 270-pound tank. His college stats won't blow you away, but that's because Stanford's passing game was essentially non-existent. When you look at his tape, you see a guy who is a devastating inline blocker. He is willing to do the dirty work that modern finesse tight ends won't touch. But don't let the blocking fool you. He's an elite athlete. He ran a 4.7 at nearly 300 pounds. That is a rare combination of size and speed that fits perfectly into what Philadelphia wants to do. He's a developmental piece, but he's one that could be the primary starter by 2027. We're building for now, and we're building for forever. But we can't talk about the future without talking about the most important position in sports. And yes, we're going back to the quarterback factory. At pick 114, the Eagles are making a move that will have sports talk radio buzzing for a month. We're taking Garrett Nussmeier out of LSU. Listen, this has nothing to do with Jalen Hurts being the guy. This is about the value of the position. Tanner McKee is on the last year of his deal. Andy Dalton is basically a coach in a jersey at this point. You need a young, cheap, talented backup who can be flipped for a second-round pick in 3 years after he lights up the preseason. Nussmeier has NFL royalty in his blood. His father, Doug, was literally the Eagles' QB coach. The front office knows this kid's DNA. He's a pro-style passer who can move in the pocket and throw off platform. Last year was a mess at LSU because of injuries, but the arm talent is undeniable. Some people had him as a top 5 talent before the injury bug hit, getting him in the 4th round. That is a total Howie Roseman heist. He's a slow play player. You let him sit, you let him learn the system, and you have the best insurance policy in the league. But as much as we love the offense, the secondary still has some massive question marks that need answering. At 137, we found a player who was falling down the board, and we practically sprinted to the podium. Jalen Kilgore from South Carolina. The Eagles have some talent at corner, but the modern NFL demands versatility. You need guys who can play the slot, transition to safety, and fly down on special teams. Kilgore is that guy. He's stocky, he's aggressive, and he runs a 4.4. He's a 95th percentile athlete who thrives as a run defender. In a division with elusive receivers and physical tight ends, you need a chess piece in the secondary who can match up with anyone. Kilgore is a project in coverage, but his raw physical tools are too good to pass up at this stage of the draft. He follows the Nick Emenwari mold, just a pure football player who finds the ball and hits anything in a different colored jersey. But we aren't done with the offensive line yet. You can never have enough bodies in a room where Jeff Stoutland works his magic. We skipped pick 153 due to a trade with Green Bay, so we're sliding into the late rounds with a focus on depth and culture. At 178, we're taking Parker Brailsford from Alabama. Brailsford is a center/guard hybrid and a multi-year team captain. He started 40 games in the toughest conference in college football. Is he undersized? Yeah, a little bit. He's not going to bull rush people into the stands, but his feet are elite. He's incredibly explosive out of his stance and has the balance to recover when he gets beat. He only gave up 1 sack all of last year in the SEC. That tells you everything you need to know about his technical proficiency. He's the perfect depth piece to sit behind the starters and learn the Philly way. But wait until you hear about this last pick. This is the one that could literally break the internet. Finally, at pick 197, we're going for the ultimate lottery ticket. This is the Jordan Mailata of the defensive line. We're going with U.R. Bernard. This guy went viral recently for a photo that looks like it was Photoshopped, but I promise you, those muscles are real. He's an international pathway player for Nigeria who is a physical anomaly. We're talking 6 feet 4 inches, 306 pounds, with a 39-inch vertical jump. He did 31 reps on the bench press like it was nothing. He is raw. He might not even know all the rules of the game yet. He's a draft and stash candidate for the practice squad. But in 2 years, under this coaching staff, he could be the most feared defensive tackle in the National Football League. He's a straight-line freak of nature. You take a flyer on that athleticism every single time in the 7th round. This mock draft 3.0 is about balance. It's about replenishing the lines, finding the next generation of pass catchers, and taking high-upside gambles on elite athletes. Howie Roseman is playing chess while the rest of the league is playing checkers. I want you to be honest with me. Grade this draft in the comments. Are we looking at an A-plus masterclass or a total F disaster? Did I miss your favorite prospect? Let me know, and I'll see you at the victory parade.